Hello and welcome to SPL Express. We're entering the business end of the season, so there's lots to talk about. And we have Roshan here to break down what's coming up for the weekend. But before we come to you, Roshan, let's remind the folks at home on what happened last weekend as we saw the highest scoring game in SPL history. The Lion City Sailors thumping Hougang 9-4 as their free scoring form continues. Geylang International picked up their 7th win in 10 games, beating Young Lions 3-0. Albrechts, meanwhile, managed to edge past Tanjong Pagar 2-1. Tampines Rovers beat Balestier by the same scoreline as well. So LCS continue to lead the way at the top, 3 points ahead of Albrechts Niigata. And just take note of that goal difference for LCS, a whopping plus 56. Tampines, meanwhile, they've pulled clear in the race for possible AFC Cup spots as they sit in 3rd, ahead of Geylang and Tanjong Pagar, who've now lost their last 5 matches. So here's what's coming up for match week 23. Balestier begin a new chapter under incoming coach Peter de Roo against Albrechts Niigata. Tampines Rovers are away at Young Lions, while Hougang United and Tanjong Pagar will lock horns in a bid to return to winning ways. On Sunday, Sailors play Geylang International in what is our game of the week. So let's start with that game on Friday, Balestier up against Albrechts Niigata. Roshan, we've spoken a lot about Albrechts, but the big one here is for Balestier actually. They have a new coach after Akbar Nawaz has left for Thailand. What do you make of this appointment?
It's an interesting one, and I think it's always fascinating when a new coach comes in, a fresh face comes in. You get to try and figure out what exactly their style is, what they want to implement with the teams that they're taking charge of. I mean, Peter de Roo coming in, we know about his CV in terms of being a technical director with the Football Association of Malaysia previously. He's also had a stint as a technical director back with the FFA Centre of Excellence in Australia. So, you know, I don't know if there's too much in terms of head coaching experience for him, at least at the senior level.
Is that a concern, though?
That could be a concern. I mean, a technical director, you know, normally sets out pathways, youth development structures, and tries to get that roadmap for the game going. And he has gotten some credit for the work that he did with the Football Association of Malaysia. You've also got to be a little bit of a coach educator as well. You've also got to set, like, you know, curriculum and things like that in terms of coach education. So he's obviously a very experienced coach educator. Whether he's got that experience as a head coach remains to be seen. But look, he's got all that experience, which should hold him in good state in this side. The thing is, for me, with Balestier and with the strength of the squad overall, how much can he really do to improve things? And I think that's what we're going to be finding out over the next few weeks or so, and in the cup competition.
Well, they play Albrechts Niigata. Albrechts have struggled on grass pitches this season.
They have, yeah.
And it's going to be a difficult game for them.
It is going to be a challenging game for them. You know, they're a side who like to keep the ball on the ground. They like to play it, you know, pass it forward through the lines. They're good at those diagonal switches as well. But when you ask them to sort of be very direct in their style of play, we have seen evidence that they have struggled a little bit with trying to vary that side of it in terms of their tactical approach. And the reason I say that is they've dropped points against Hougang at Hougang Stadium on a natural grass pitch, which isn't the best of playing surfaces. And even at Toa Payoh Stadium against Balestier, it was a close run thing. You know, they had to really fight their way towards all 3 points in that game, whereas when you looked at the games against Balestier at their home ground, they were much more comfortable at Jurong East Stadium. So this could be something that equalizes things a little bit if Balestier are smart about how they play this one, and if Albrechts can't get to grips with the playing surface and that change in style that's required.
Well, let's focus on the next game. Young Lions up against Tampines. Tampines have turned the corner somewhat. They are clear front runners for that 3rd position. What's changed for you in this Tampines squad?
I think they are making up time in terms of, obviously, the games that they had in hand over the rest of the teams in the league. That's one of the things. But you've obviously got to go out and win those matches. After that little bit of a spell where they had a blip coming back from the AFC Cup campaign, they started to come into a nice little run of confidence. The results are coming together for them. The fact that recently they picked up a clean sheet is something we don't see too often from Tampines Rovers.
Just one clean sheet in 13 matches.
That's right, one clean sheet in 13 matches. It was something I saw on social media as well, Tampines Rovers fans celebrating the fact that they picked up a clean sheet. And it was a 1-0 win as well, so it was a closely fought thing, and they showed that they were able to sort of battle towards all 3 points. And then they picked up another win, you know, so they seem to be coming into a nice little run of wins. There's good confidence there, and it helped that on the table now there's a bit of a cushion. So, you know, it kind of takes a little bit of the pressure off. I mean, still think the job that Gavin has done at Tampines Rovers has been fantastic. The fact that they are going to be finishing, or look the strongest to finish in 3rd spot, is a really good sign for, you know, what they came into this season with.
Let's move on to the next game. Hougang up against Tanjong Pagar United. Both teams need to return to winning ways. But let's focus on Hougang because they got thrashed by Sailors. Obviously, everyone's talking about the scoreline. But what was worrying is the body language from the players.
Yeah, I mean, that has been a bit of a concern for Hougang. I mean, this hasn't been a season that has gone very well for them at all. You know, all throughout the campaign, it's been a very disappointing one for Hougang. And you're right to point out the fact that the body language doesn't seem quite right. Look, they had that result against Albrecht Legata, 3-3 draw, and they celebrated it a little bit on social media, that there was a sense of togetherness and they seemed happy and seemed confident. But obviously, it looks on the outside anyway like all is not really well at the club. And, you know, there's talk about, you know, certain players, you know, not wanting to play in certain positions and being left out of the side because of that. So there's a lot of issues going on behind the scenes. You know, confidence seems low at the moment. A couple of individuals are playing well. Krajcek is doing a great job. Bortoluzo scoring goals as well. But otherwise, the overall structure of the team defensively as well, they're all over the place. Looks like there's a real lack of quality at the back, but also in the team shape in terms of how they're being broken down by the opposition. So, I mean, it's difficult. It's something that the coaching staff there have got to put their heads together and try and turn around. And, of course, the responsibility has to fall on the players as well to work together and stick together and take responsibility and to say to each other, look, this hasn't been good enough. Let's try and get together and pull ourselves out of this rather than pointing fingers and blaming individuals for the mistakes that are being made. But yeah, it's been such a disappointing season for Hougang so far.
Well, the player you mentioned is, I mean, there's a major absentee in the squad for the past few weeks, Kaishu Yamazaki.
That's right.
We're not sure what's exactly gone on at the club. But as a coach, for the coaching staff, how do they deal with this?
Well, they've obviously decided that the right decision is to leave him out of the side if he's not going to be playing in the role that they want him to play. My understanding of it is that, you know, Kaishu Yamazaki doesn't want to play in central defense, and that was from his time even before signing for Hougang. It's not a position that he feels comfortable playing in. And, you know, if they know that coming into it, signing the contract with the club, and that's something that they've agreed upon, then I think they should know that, you know, that's not a position that he's going to be happy playing in. And if you ask him to do that, maybe 1 or 2 games, he's going to help you out. But if you're constantly asking him to play in that position, and I understand the other side of it is to say it's for the betterment of the team, they need his quality in there. He's actually really good in that position as well, but it's something that he doesn't feel it's a position that he's comfortable playing in, or he doesn't feel that he can deliver his best. There's 2 sides to look at it, right? On the one hand, you could say you're a professional footballer, you do what you're paid to do. Wherever the coach asks you to play, you go and play. And every player is different. I mean, I know I would play wherever, but he's different, and I guess we've got to respect that. But also on the other side of it, if he's been honest with the coaching staff and said from the start, I don't want to play in central defense and I'm not going to stay, I'm not going to sign a contract if that's going to be the case, then they've also got to try and find a way to come to an understanding. They've got to understand his thinking behind that as well. It's a difficult situation to be in, but ultimately the coaching staff and what they've done is they've sent a message essentially to say, this is not going to be acceptable. If you as a player say you're not going to follow instructions and you don't want to play in a certain position, then we are going to leave you out. So that kind of sends a message to the rest of the squad as well, and that's the stand that they look to have taken.
Well, that's going to be a very, very interesting game. Let's move on to our final game of the week. Sailors up against Geylang International. Let's talk about Sailors first. They're scoring goals for fun at the moment. 26 goals in 3 matches.
It's been
and that's coincided with the fact that Kim De-hoon has left the club.
Kim De-hoon has left the club. They started banging in those goals. It looks like they're playing with a lot of freedom, and I think we've seen that in their displays. Again, have they sort of really been tested by the first 2 opposition? Maybe not. Hougang again wasn't really a big test for them, so maybe this weekend's game coming up against Geylang might prove to be a nice challenge for Lion City Sailors and perhaps their first real test for Luka Lalic. But having said that, I mean, they can only play what's in front of them. They can only play what's in front of them, and we have seen them at times this season struggle to break down deep-lying defenses. Whereas now they're just opening up the opposition and they're creating chances and they're scoring all those goals. And the players look like they're really enjoying themselves. There's a lot of freedom in terms of their movement on the pitch. They counter-attack very quickly now. You know, they've there's quite a bit of variation in their approach. You know, they're quite happy to transition quickly, play a ball in behind the opposition defense, and they get bodies flooding into the box. So their body's in there to attack cutbacks and crosses in the area.
Is that an instruction from the coaching staff? Or is that just the players playing?
Yeah, I'm sure it is. I'm sure it's an instruction from the coaching staff. But again, as I've said previously, on previous episodes of SPL Express, I don't think this is a side that you need to overcoach. I think you show them a few things about the opposition. These are the areas of weaknesses, how we sort of get there into those positions. You guide them along a little bit, and then after that you kind of say, you guys have incredible quality, just go and express yourselves, because this is a team, let's face it, are the outstanding side in the league, and these results don't really come as a surprise to me because there's such a gulf in class between the Lion City Sailors and almost everyone else in the competition. So it's almost as if we are starting to see the real Lion City Sailors, sailors we expected to come out at the start of the campaign. It's good for them. They're enjoying themselves. It's a lot of fun to watch. They are scoring lots of goals and they're playing some really good football at the moment. But yeah, this is a side that I'd say I'd like to see them playing with that freedom. If I were their coach as well, I'd be saying, go and show what you're all about because you guys are so good, and I keep them happy, send them out into these games. And, look, I may be oversimplifying it, but the results have been great and they're scoring goals for fun.
So let's put you in those coaching boots then. They're facing Geylang. What would you point out about Geylang, or which of the areas Geylang could threaten?
See, this is the thing about Geylang now, where they are so good at the moment, right? Picking up clean sheet after clean sheet, almost 6 clean sheets in their last 10 matches. And what we've seen from them is, in that game especially, I think back to that match against Elbrex. Yes, they drew that one, but they could have won it. And they were very happy, Geylang, to be tactically disciplined in terms of making it a dull game at times for the viewer. But that's fine. It's about getting the result at the end of the day. And they sat back and they kept things nice and tight. And in the second half, they opened up a little bit more. So perhaps in this match, they're going to try and do that as well against the Sailors. And then it's a matter of, with the Sailors saying patience. Because there will come a point in the game where Geylang will have to try and open up a little bit more as well. You're obviously looking in these situations, a lot of those give and goes, quick 1 and 2 touch play, because that's how you break. If Geylang set up in a deep defensive block, the space is going to be very limited. But you can't move as quick as you're passing the ball. So it's got to be quick 1 and 2 touch. The support has to arrive. The ball has to move quickly. Off the ball movement has to happen quickly. And then when you lose the ball in those moments, the team shape has to be compact so that you can counter press quickly, try and win it back again, prevent Geylang from countering, but also setting up a transition opportunity for yourself in those moments. So those are the things that I look to try and encourage them to do. And you've got good quality individuals who can take on players as well. So that's, again, another option to try and use to try and beat this Geylang international side.
Well, Roshan is going to be at the game with Shazad Haq. That is our feature game of the week. Coverage begins from 5 p.m. So lots of games to look forward to. Roshan, we will see you over the weekend at the games. Don't forget, you can catch the games live on our YouTube channel. Till next time, goodbye.